So you know, Judy, this really was a really harsh winter, and it
Very
lasted
much.
for a long time, and not only with snow and ice, but also with wind damage, and as you know, behind us here is a trellis. Now that's a pretty easy fix, you know, to pick up and set back into place.
You just have to kind of trim off that vine that was on it and just kind
And
of straighten
reset
it
it up again. However,
Right.
you know, a lot of plants, people are confused about, did they make it, did they not,
Right.
they look dead. Well, you know, here's a Sephora, it's a beautiful tree, and you can tell when I scratch right here, there's just no green in there. But if you go down a bit further on the limb,
You
you
think
can
so?
scratch it,
Oh.
and there's green. So that's one of the best ways of telling whether that plant is alive or not. Just do a little fingernail scratching until you get down to green. Now, you might go all the way to the base,
Right.
and then that would tell you that at least all of the top is dead. It might be root hardy, and that wouldn't happen for another few weeks till it started growing again, you'd know. But you can certainly find out if they're alive by doing the little thumbnail scratch.
Right. Well, with this rosemary here, I don't know if we scratched it. I don't think we're going to find
No.
anything. And this might be a combination. We had that really cold, dry weather, and then followed by 2 weeks of ice sitting on this, which is kind of like too much for this rosemary. I think a lot of the hedge is okay, but these last few, I wouldn't be scared though to replace it with the same thing, because you know that rosemary is going to be fine on many, many years. You got a lot of enjoyment on it. I'd put the same thing back in again.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of us have dracaenas, which they call dragon palms, and they're so beautiful, they grow fast, but most of them look like this. And one of the best ways to tell whether it's dead or not is just go out and bend it. And if it
it's
does
gone.
that, it's pretty much gone. Now again, that doesn't mean the roots are dead,
Right.
but this also gives you a great opportunity to go, you know what, I've always wanted to try something else there, let's just yank it out and try. So you can cut it off at the base, see if it
Right.
comes back, or you can, you know, cut it off at the base and or just tear it out of the ground and, you know, put something else in.
William, you know what else looks like this are the phormiums.
it's
They
true.
really got damaged because anything like it's a broadleafed evergreen, that ice just sat on it and froze all the leaves. But you know, I think in many of the situations that whole plant is going to be fine because the roots are going to be hardy, but right now the tops are bad. So I would just cut off all that foliage and then just see what happens. If you have a little patience, you could do that, and if you don't have patience, just take it out, maybe put it in a pot or another part of the garden and plant another one.
It's a great opportunity to try something new. Now there's a few other things we wanted to show you about winter damage, so let's take a walk over
All
there.
right.
okay?
William, I think this is a great example of just some leaf damage on the top of the plant, but it can use some shaping. You're just going to want to come down to a bud, and this plant is going to be fine. Maybe in April or so, you want to give it a little bit of shot of fertilizer. It's kind of early now in early March, but just a little jump start to kind of help push some new foliage.
Yeah, it's true. You know, agarias are very hardy here, but this one just had some damage. Maybe it was in a windy area, it got a lot of
be.
ice or something. The leaves aren't on the tree above it, so
Right, no
that could have very
protection.
well explained it. Now over here we have an example of a pittosporum. This was a huge plant, and it obviously, you can see how old it was, but it's completely dead, and I know that because I can
at
do
us.
the scratch test, and there's nothing there.
Right,
And
it's
you
just
can
all
just
dead.
easily break it down. So this is an example of a plant that's going to have to come completely out, and something else is going to have to go there.
But how fun.
It is fun. Now we have one other thing we want to show you that has happened a lot in a lot of yards. So let's run over there now,
All
shall
right.
we?
William, this Daphne odora, it just got split right down the middle. I wish we could just take duct tape and just push it together.
Well, you know, it's true, but the split really is damaging. So what I'm going
Right.
to do is cut out that limb I can use with the pruners, and then I'll just take this saw here and
You-
cut that right through the core.
You know, and I'm going to cut this apart and put it in the house for some nice
Sure,
spreading
you can do
flowers.
that. And of course, a little bit later, we'll probably stand this up so it's a bit more straighter, because you can see how it's kind of fallen over the years. But this plant is completely viable. You might lose a few blooms, but like Judy said, you can take them in the house. But it's really not going to kill the plant at all.
Not at
Here's
all.
another example of a bad windstorm twist on this Cryptomeria japonica raisin. You can see where the wind just blew it over and shredded it right in half there. Now this one, because it's a really kind of unique and rare plant, I think we're going to leave it, stake it up, do a little more work on it later, and see if we can tighten that up a bit. But I have a feeling that this is going to be just fine as well. So when you're going through your yard, don't give up on the plant
No,
yet.
not at all.
Take some time, have a little patience. Certainly go to any of your independent garden centers, and they'll be able to tell you what you can do to give the plant the best chance of survival. If nothing else, go to a store and buy another plant.
Not a bad thing.